George Washington's election as the first president of the United States in 1789 was a pivotal moment in American history, marking the establishment of the executive branch under our newly ratified Constitution. Washington emerged as a prominent military leader during the American War of Independence, commanding the Continental Army against British forces. His leadership and strategic prowess were instrumental in securing American independence from Great Britain. Following the war, Washington played a crucial role in the Constitutional Convention of 1787, held in Philadelphia. He was unanimously elected as the president of the convention and facilitated the delegates in drafting the United States Constitution to replace the Articles of Confederation. The election of 1789 was the first presidential election held under the newly adopted Constitution, which created a federal system of government with a strong executive branch. Because George Washington was widely revered for his leadership during the Revolutionary War and the Constitutional Convention, he was seen as a unifying figure capable of guiding the new nation. Washington was unanimously elected as the first president of the United States by the Electoral College. He received all 69 electoral votes, with John Adams becoming the vice president under the electoral system at that time. On April 30th, 1789, Washington was inaugurated as president. This occurred in New York City, which at that time was the temporary capital of the United States. His inauguration marked the beginning of his presidency and set many precedents, including the oath of office and the tradition of the inaugural address. During his presidency, Washington focused on establishing the institutions and norms of the federal government as outlined in the Constitution. He appointed the first cabinet members, including Thomas Jefferson as Secretary of State and Alexander Hamilton as Secretary of the Treasury. Washington navigated foreign policy challenges, including our relations with Britain and France, and worked to strengthen our national unity and economic stability as a small nation in a world with large empires. His administration negotiated treaties and managed conflicts with Native American tribes as the nation expanded westward. George Washington was re-nominated for a second term as president by both Federalists and Democratic Republicans, reflecting his widespread popularity and bipartisan support. In the electoral vote held in 1792, George Washington received all 132 electoral votes cast across the states. John Adams was re-elected as vice president, continuing their partnership in office. Washington's second term faced challenges such as political factionalism, the Whiskey Rebellion of 1794, and ongoing foreign policy tensions with Britain and France. His administration navigated issues of neutrality and diplomacy amidst European conflicts at the time. In 1796, George Washington chose not to seek a third term and delivered his farewell address, emphasizing the importance of unity, avoiding political factions, and maintaining neutrality in foreign affairs. This set the precedent of serving only 2 terms, a tradition that would be followed until Franklin D. Roosevelt's presidency in the 20th century. Washington's farewell address remains a seminal document in American political history, offering guidance on civic duty and national identity. George Washington's leadership, integrity, and commitment to Republican principles set the precedents that shaped the office for future presidents. Washington's legacy as the father of our country and as a symbol of American unity and leadership endures strongly to this day in American culture and history. The Genesis epoch lasted from 2009 to 2012, beginning with the creation of the Genesis block on January 3, 2009, which was mined by Satoshi Nakamoto and inspired by the bank bailouts occurring at this time. During this epoch, the core principles of Bitcoin were established: decentralization, cryptographic security, and fixed supply. These remain the fixed law of the code. The community of early developers and enthusiasts are to be thanked for this, as they contributed to the expansion of the network and the refinement of its protocols. Hal Finney, an early cryptographic pioneer and Bitcoin contributor, was the first person to receive Bitcoins from Satoshi and actively participated in testing and improving the Bitcoin software. These early years of Bitcoin were marked by technical challenges, including software bugs, security vulnerabilities, and scalability concerns. Despite these challenges, Bitcoin's resilience and the dedication of its community laid the groundwork for its continued development and broader acceptance. It would not be until May 22, 2010 that the first commercial transaction took place, when Laszlo Hanyecz purchased 2 large pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin, when its value was considered to be worth less than a penny. This transaction established Bitcoin's price and its use as a currency. During this epoch, the earliest Bitcoin holders were libertarians, cypherpunks, and tech enthusiasts looking for an alternative to traditional banking. The early exchange called Mt. Gox provided users with a means to trade their fiat currency for Bitcoin. The Genesis epoch saw the creation of the Silk Road, a digital darknet marketplace that accepted Bitcoin for payment. This provided Bitcoin with the means to demonstrate its ability to facilitate transactions effectively. The primary communication platform for Bitcoin at this time was bitcointalk.org, where most of Satoshi's writings still reside. It was during this epoch that Satoshi chose to disappear. His last post was dated December 2010. The Genesis epoch represents Bitcoin's foundational period from its creation by Satoshi Nakamoto to its development and adoption in the early 2010s. Bitcoin's price in fiat went from $0 to a high of $29, with an average price of $9.53. This period laid the groundwork for Bitcoin's subsequent growth, technological advancement, and its increasing integration into global financial systems. The principles and innovations during these years established Bitcoin's function as a decentralized currency and a store of value for all time. Thanks for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you in our next episode.